All right, welcome everybody to another exciting Vamp show. We're going to let the Chone man take this first. He's got a couple dates tonight. He's got two supermodels. They're picking him up in his rolls, and he's going to take him down to the beach, you know, a little whining and dining and whatever happens after that. A couple bottles of champagne, probably something expensive. These girls are probably wearing something nice and tight and sexy. So he's got like 25 minutes in order to get this done. So let's hear it for the Chone. Ready, set, go!
All right. Thanks, Vamp. Hello, everybody. Good evening. Happy Friday to us all. I want to thank you all for joining us to see, wow, 162 of our closest friends. It's happy to have you all here. All right, guys, let's talk some Bitcoin. Hey, you know, we finished the day out. Okay, we're 3 minutes into our new day. Let's take a look at our candle that we just put in, because listen, this was a really nice candle. Now, previous day, we had a bullish engulfing over the body of our previous super crazy wick candle here that we were trying to have the debate on. You know, is this a really nasty bearish shooting star, or the fact that we actually closed once again one more day in our consolidation period area of between 6,300 to 6,500? Is that just another example of how stable this area is? And 2 days later, we've advanced and we've advanced again. And let's face it, yesterday's candle was pretty good looking. We have a longer wick, we have a decent sized body, and we have a pretty small wick on top. So we kind of trailed bullish as the day progressed, and we pretty much held a lot of those gains. Go to the 4 hour, and this was our last 4 hour candle. And yeah, the wick on top, you know, we would have liked to have pushed a little bit higher there. And clearly this new candle, we just started our 4 minutes into it, and a little bullish push here. So that's good continuation. But listen, we are once again wanting to flirt with our area up here of resistance. Now, yesterday, what we had seen, or when we had our bullish pop, the last one we had here, we wicked out right at our upper resistance area here. But that also coincides with the lower area of this triangle where we've kind of been sitting in here for quite some time. I'll go to our 12 hour to get a broader view here. So this is our resistance if you touch here to here, and this actually happens to fall on this support area here, and we actually hit our perfect apex here. So I do find these two angles meaningful, and we wicked out here. We found major support continuously on this lower green line here. That's pushed us higher. Now we've also found support currently on our channel, middle channel here, which has been acting as resistance most of the time, and now we're actually finding some support here. We did find it here, this candle, but we were unable to hold the previous candle again on a 12-hour chart. So we have a bullish hold of our channel middle. We have continuously tested and held our lower green support line here. So I'm going to assume that there's a chance still for a bullish test potentially of these two targets here. One would be our angled resistance line here. Now, depending upon where it hits, it could still be 6,800, 6,850, somewhere in that area. Or do we go for another wick past that and retest our upper channel resistance line, which has been sloping higher upward ever since we touched it here and kind of held support, broke it down here. So these are kind of two things I'm looking for here. Now I want to go to my indicator and start with the daily here, and we once again gotten back to our upper region here of our stochastic RSI. Now we have been here before these two times here, so this represents a couple things. We're basically topping off on our 100 here on our leading indicator. Our trailing is pretty close. We talked about how flat and pancake we were down here several days ago, and that it took us a while to kind of pull ourselves off the ground, but this last impulse here was actually kind of decent and has brought us back to this territory. So what does this mean here? Now we can stay up here for several days. You know, we have seen areas where we've been up here from the 1st to the 8th, so almost a week we can stay up in this extended area if we have some continuation of our bullishness. We can also do a couple of these crosses and still maintain this area. So even though we're up here on a daily, which is a high time frame, doesn't necessarily mean we've topped off and have to come down. Now our RSI, look at that, we're right above 50. And that's notable because since we broke bearish at the beginning of August, we have been under 50 ever since. So this is a good accomplishment for the bulls to get up into this area here. And I've been channeling this more so on the 4 hour chart, where we have this channel consistently. This bottom support is holding here, here, and here. And once again, once we were able to break our middle channel line, it's logical to assume that we can target almost the 70 area, which would correspond with our upper channel resistance, which on the 4 hour has more or less held all the way through August. So we're seeing this pattern continuation repeat, where when we do break bearish, if you're able to buy it up here, here, and here, we're putting in higher lows, which is important. We're also putting in lower highs. So we're channeling and we're getting closer to our triangle apex here. I can do a quick TD count to see kind of where we are in the whole sequential. We're on a green 3 still on our 4-day, so we're kind of still mid-cycle, and only on a green 2 on our 12-day and our 12-hour. And our daily, we're on a green 3, so we are continuing this uptrend here, which is still kind of progressing, but that's something to be noted. Now, I want to see our Bollinger Bands, and lastly, I'll just basically touch on what's going on here in kind of the bigger picture, because I like to refer to my BBs to get a better understanding about, you know, moves outside of the standard deviation. You know, have we gone too bullish? Have we gone too bearish? So for this long time after we broke out of our upper Bollinger, we have been fading ever since. We found support after we broke for 1 day on our lower Bollinger and gone kind of sideways. We did find resistance initially on our middle Bollinger, and now we're actually finding support. So these are very encouraging signs that keep suggesting that we're going to try and at least attempt another test of our upper Bollinger Band. Now we're getting tighter here, and the tighter the Bollingers get, especially on high time frames like the daily, the more meaningful the bigger moves can suggest. We can get tightening here, which can precede a larger move, tightening here, which can precede a larger move. And what now we're getting, actually, relatively speaking, pretty tight, almost equivalent to what we had here before we actually had a larger breakout. Now, this doesn't say if we're going bullish or bearish, but it says we're getting tighter and a bigger move is coming. Also denotes where our major resistance is, 68.40 to 68.50. But as long as we can hold support on our middle BB, we can basically test that. Now, our lower support keeps on rising, which is encouraging. For the first time, we're actually over 6,000. So if we were able to break bearish, I would look for this area somewhat to test and hold. Even if we wick out, I wouldn't expect to be below it for more than a candle until we actually come back. So it could be a buying opportunity if we break bearish, or definitely a selling opportunity or a short opportunity if we break too quickly bullish, because we're tightening, but we're not super tight on that sense. I'll just do one quick 4-hour here. And again, this is an example of a tighter chart. We were really tight here. We broke out. Only were able to be outside for 1 candle. Now, as we break a little bit bullish, we're continuing to find our upper BB as resistance, holding our price in. And I'd look for short-term support, rising our middle BB, currently at 65.24 and rising.
Nice. Very nice, buddy. Good job, man. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at my charts. So real quick, let's bring this over here. So today I haven't liked this trade area at all. One of the things I do want to bring up, and kind of the main chart we've been playing around with, is this is kind of my main chart right here. So one thing I want to show you, kind of go back and forth. So this is really the area I've been comparing everything to previously, and then here, and you can see what happened here. You can see this came up, and exactly inside here was my first channel, fell outside of the channel, came up, tapped the channel, kind of moved sideways a little bit, got up a little bit, and then dumped out. Now, this kind of action would still correlate and stay inside of what is the head and shoulders here. So we've still got this head and shoulders pattern in play. Breaking out of this is now going to breaking bullish out of this will then invalidate the head and shoulders. So that's something that I've been looking at. So here you can see we came up. Look at this, came up, and here was my channel. We fell out of the channel. Then we just ripped through the channel, you know, with the extra little tether that helped to help push that through there. And then now we came back up, we tested exactly onto this again. Look, so you can see how this channel line right here came back up, poked this one more time. Now, it's funny that if you look in the Bollinger Bands, how the Bollinger Bands actually correlate with the head and shoulders chart. And if you come over here and you look at this chart, we just posted this up in the members area. You look at the resistance and where this is at. Look at this resistance right here. This is your head and shoulders, your 2 head and shoulders tops. This is the other shoulder, right? This is your right side shoulder. So you've got, here you go, you got this 67.80, and 68.37. And that's funny because the Bollinger Band that you just got shown by the Chone, oh, that all matches. It was like my rapper rhyme right there. Right, that you see that this lines up perfectly with the target of the Bollinger Band. So you see that comes up here and just hits out right perfect. You see I got 68.39 as a top side. Now, if once you get up here and you start to test this area, you really start to have to ask yourself, is this going to invalidate this head and shoulders right here? Or does it just, this is tough. This is a really tough area when you get up here because this is going to really start to break down a lot of my bullish and bearish bias and flip me. And as I look over here to my chart, my main charts, listen, I am super close on breaking bullish here, right? This is very close on breaking bullish. Now, this did go bullish on my RSI chart. This did go bullish. My issue on this RSI chart here is because we got this false pump out of here from the all that extra tether that was added into the market. So you see what happened. This kind of blew this out. I actually raised my rejection box. We've actually pierced that line. So to me, I am in a no trade zone. I don't like where we're at. I don't like trading this. Today I had a short. I was in a short. I got snapped out. It was in a flip trade. So that snap trade got flipped into a flip trade. So I did, I broke even. I made a little bit of money on the short that, no, I actually lost money because I set my stop loss higher. So I lost on that trade today, but it flipped me into a long. So I did pick up a couple points in a little bit of a long trade. I have a screenshot of it. It's like 1 or 2 points. I then flipped that trade back and started laddering shorts. So right now I am laddering shorts, and I'm going to actually continue laddering shorts up to this level right here, the 6,800 level. Breaking that is going to flip me clearly into a long trade here, right? And I have a lot of issues now with my bubble charts because of the amount of the tether that was pumped into the market. It's not natural, so that is probably thrown off my my TA on my bubble charts. We're going to have to see. Now I'm kind of in no man's land here now with the bubble charts because of all the manipulation. So, this is just a really hard place for me to trade. Now, another issue I have over here is if you rip this bubby down, you go down to your daily, here's another issue that I'm facing, right? So we had this bearish cross right here. We have another bearish cross that's setting up. It's probably still 2 days out for this 100 and this 50 to cross. At least 2 days probably for this thing to touch. Probably a day to touch, another day to cross. But you did have this bullish cross on the 10 and 20. So this bullish cross on this 10 and 20 this is a great bull sign, right? This is very bullish because you are on the low side here. This is not crossing on the price action. It actually crossed below. So this is bullish to me. Now this has to say, okay, I'm forced to stack my shorts a little bit higher here. This is a little bit risky. Now I've only got about 20% in play right now of my stack because I just don't like this. I don't like this setup. In order to flip this trade bullish, I need to break over this. I need to break over all these MAs right here on the daily. It's that simple. For me to go bullish, all you got to do is just break these MAs. It'll flip everything for me, and then this trade will go bullish. And then you're looking to get up into the 7,400 reach, 72, 74, whatever's next up here. You've got a little bit of room to run, but this is going to take a lot of oomph to get past this 69 area. And, there's a lot of resistance in here as you kind of run down through all your MAs, right? All your moving averages. There's 69.47. You got another cross coming on the 12-hour. No help below. Let's pull this out to 2-day. You got a brand new 2-day candle that just started. Now, here's that candle that I hate. I hate this candle. Absolutely hate it. It's on the 2-day and it's on the 3-day chart. And okay, so 3-day chart hasn't started a new candle yet, but here's more of your resistance. Your resistance, you got the 10 MA, you got the 20 MA, you got the 30 MA, all stacked right here. And this is kind of here's that area again that Chone just showed you on his Bollinger Band, on his Bollinger Bands. You know, you've got all that stacked resistance right in this area. This is going to be tough to break out of this. Okay, let's pull this back to the 2-day. I just want to go to the 2-day real quick. So on your 2-day, there's that candle I hate once again. It did break bullish on the candle. I swear to God, I'm going to rename this the beating candle, right? Because this candle just beats my butt every single time. Every single time this candle beats my butt. It's such a hard candle, such a hard trade setup. I don't know. That's my weakness. That's my own personal kryptonite right there. Going down to the 6-hour. Okay, so let's come down to the 6-hour. We hit a 6 now. You guys know I like to reverse on a 6. This is it. This is kind of make or break on the 6-hour right here, and this doesn't look good. This actually looks very bullish. This doesn't look good for a reversal. And look at, you got a long way to run. There's no support above this on the 6-hour. There's nothing above it on the 4-hour. It's all open air up to 7K. So you really got to rely on your higher time frames. Now, I like to rely on my higher time frames when I'm looking for my resistance, right? I prefer to have the higher time frames up there. So you're going to have to go all the way up to your 12-hour to oh my God, not even your 12-hour. Look, there's just nothing here. You got to get all the way up into the daily before you find your first level of resistance. And that's going to be 6,859, where the top of the BB is, where the top of Chone's BB is. And you know, that's it. You know, there you go, 68.47. I mean, this is kind of the next stop right here. Your next stop is 68.50. This is kind of where I see this puppy going too. I don't see any reason why it can't go up there. I do have, you know, I did think we were going to get stopped out right here in this historical range. So here you go. Look at your historicals. So you got candle, candle, body, body. So you got a lot of historical resistance right in here. And this is kind of where this did get tapped. But you got to run all the way up to this 3-day chart just to see anything. There's nothing. This has got room. This has got plenty of room. Let's pull it out to the weekly. There's the weekly. The weekly's topping you off at 67.69. And the next stop on that is 6,900. This is bullish. This looks bullish. This is really hard, and this is why I went into a smaller trade. Now, I am in a short for 2 reasons. I'm in a short because of the head and shoulders pattern, which I do believe still right now with 80% certainty is going to hold. Right? So I am trading. My whole trade setup right now is based on this head and shoulders pattern. And this is kind of where I'm trading. I'm going to trade this, you know, ride or die on this trade with this head and shoulders pattern. And that's kind of where I'm at. Now, I really don't have anything else. I really don't have any other trade setup. This does, you know, this came up, got into my resistance. Got into my resistance zone, so it did hit my bubble. Now let's go back, and there's one more thing I want to show you guys. And if you come over here and you rip this down to the 6-hour, right, I do have a count on this, right? And my count is A, B, C, D, E, right? And we know that E is the failure wave. Okay, so the E is the failure wave in this, and you know, you invalidate the E by breaking C. Okay, so the E is invalidated by breaking C, because then it really is no longer an A, B, C, D, E wave charging up there. It turns it into a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's your issue, is this invalidates this A, B, C, D, E. Once you break over this, it then turns this E wave, which should be a failure wave, into an impulsive wave. And that impulsive wave will carry up and over this C wave here as an impulsive wave with you know, with room to run on this. That's all I got. Thoughts?
Brilliant. Yeah, I got a few.
Go for it. Okay, hold on, let me get back up
and
here.
you know, it's funny how you use your indicators and then I use my indicators, and we're finding the same confluence zones. So I'm on Bitfinex, and we see how the EMA 55 was really where our candle a few days ago wicked out. And that was major resistance there because it blew through my 26 and my 12. These are my EMAs, my 12, my 26, and my 55. I've also put the MA 100 here as kind of like your last area of major resistance, because you can see here we held it, we broke it, we back tested resistance. So corresponding with what Vamp just said, right now the EMA 55 is at 68.50, like kind of on the nose. And that would be kind of my next attempt to be a bullish target, because if we wicked out there one time, I could clearly see the bulls trying to make a second attempt. And if they're able to break through again with a candle, they could probably then wick out and touch our MA 100 just a hair under 7K. So these are two examples where that bullish last push would retest the EMA 55, where we wicked out and pretty much had very strong resistance there. And then can basically test that higher. But again, 7K does feel very strong resistance. Now, the last thing I want to mention is you mentioned about the how your head and shoulders are still in play, and I completely agree. And if you note back here on our left shoulder, we actually had 3 or 4 wicks here.
Why your charts always got to be prettier than mine? Why always got to be prettier than mine? Huh? Purple? Now he's got purple. I see how it is. Go ahead.
Visually appealing. So we wicked out here a couple times on our left shoulder. So our left shoulder does not necessarily have to be just one specific candle of, you know, resistance there. We can create several wicks to create the left shoulder. There's a good chance we could create several wicks to create the right shoulder, and that would allow another at least one retest of about 7K. Now it varies from exchange to exchange. We actually, I think, saw BitMEX break 7K on a wick. Mostly everything else was stopped out around 69 and change. But even if we do wick here, I believe it still keeps the right shoulder in play, and the larger overall head and shoulders definitely in play until proven otherwise. Until we basically break above our 55 and hold, or if we can close on a candle above 7K, then I would start to really put in doubt this, and I would think this is breaking bullish. Absolutely, because this sideways price action is beginning to allow our indicators to turn from resistance to support. And I'm very encouraged to see, again, with the EMAs I use, to see that yesterday's candle was able to close over our EMA 26. Which is the first time it's been able to do that since August 2nd. So that's notable. And that can be built upon for another attempt to hit our 55. I do see this now as support. And I definitely see our EMA 12 as strong support as well, down to 65.20 or so. So if we break bearish, I would look for some support again here to hold this. And even if we wick down, we can wick up, and that would even be more of a bullish sense of a continuation uptrend. But again, the higher we go, we're going to see that resistance build, and the bigger sense of, you know, does the market believe that we're stepping up higher and higher? And the last thing I want to just briefly touch on is our shorts. I guess there are some charts that showing we've broken all-time highs. The Bitfinex shows we have not broken all-time high yet. We still actually have a couple more contracts to build on, but this is flagging here still from a chart perspective. And even if we touch this blue line, which is held our support, we can be still touching this and still be in this bullish chart uptrend of the shorts rising. And I'm still looking for a retest of our ATH and a breakthrough. Even though on our daily, our RSI has cooled off enough. Now we're below 70, so we can push one more push higher. This is still bullishly flagging on the RSI as well. And even our stochastics has reset bullishly flagging to push one more time higher. And that means two things. That means if the shorts are rising once again, there's confidence that either the bullish push in Bitcoin is just temporary and it's an opportunity to add more to your shorts, or Bitcoin is breaking bearish and they haven't liquidated yet because they want to get more money because they think it's going much more bearish. So even a bull break or a bear break in Bitcoin can still move these higher. It's almost a larger move has to really break these things. So either a massive bull break will begin to liquidate shorts because they have to, or a massive bear break can increase the shorts or liquidate them if they feel they want to take profit or increase because it's not falling fast enough. So there's still a situation here where I want to see these rise higher, and that can still mean a little bit more of a bullish push. The only thing that could really disturb that is a major move, several $100s in a very short amount of time with continuation and volume. That's what I got.
All right. So really quick with that. So, you know, when I want to bring up one, let's do this real quick. All right. So one of the things I want to talk about real quick is still, you know, you gotta be careful right here because, you know, just I feel that I'm not two things. I'm going to bring this over. I'm going to bring one chart over here, and here we go. All right. So this is where are you at? There we go. Here is my Litecoin chart, right? And Litecoin has been sitting in this channel. It is now wedged out. You can see it's wedged out right here. I'm going to bring this down. We're going to peel this down here. Here we go. So here's Litecoin. Litecoin is kind of what I've been measuring everything by. Now, it did break out of this channel. You can see that Litecoin did break out of the channel. It is on a 6 on the 6 hour. But Litecoin is flagging behind Bitcoin. So Litecoin is clearly flagging behind Bitcoin here. And let's see, I think this is the chart with both of them. No, they're both Litecoin. All right, so Litecoin is flagging behind Bitcoin right now. It is actually weaker than Bitcoin. So I want you guys to really keep an eye on this because as I always say, you know, Litecoin is what is leading the marketplace here. And if you guys, you know, come over here and take a look at your Litecoin charts, you'll see if you compare side by side Litecoin to Bitcoin, that Litecoin is not as strong as Bitcoin is right now. It is a little bit weaker. It's trying to fall back in. And we kind of expected it to break out of this wedge eventually. And it did. It kind of finally popped out of that wedge. My resistance is up here, $65, $65, 62 bucks, even $60. So you've got, you know, Bitcoin, Litecoin does have the ability, and this is kind of what I'm watching. I'm watching my Litecoin chart very closely as I'm doing my TA for my Bitcoin. And one of the things we did post up this 6 candle, which is a shooting star. Well, it's a bearish. This is a bearish candle here on this 6. Right? This is a bearish candle with the flat bottom and the wick on it. So you got to be careful watching out for this. And it's on a 6, which is my fave. On your 12-hour on Litecoin, just popped out of the channel. So it is started out of the channel on your 12-hour. Look at this. You do have a bullish cross. So there you go. There's a bullish cross. It is just touching. So it's just touching right here. And if you see, it's just banging around inside this big channel right here. Just banging around in there. We could probably bring this up just a little bit as it goes on every single kind of, there you are. So it's just banging around in this channel right here. Now this channel, because it's at the bottom right here, this is a little more of a rising, ascending wedge-ish kind of a thing that's looking like this. Now you got to be careful with this channel because this channel can be a continuation pattern, and that continuation pattern can be down. Now you don't get this setup with Bitcoin. Bitcoin does not have this setup. Only Litecoin has this setup right here, so you guys should keep an eye on your Litecoin chart. Now, if this does break, you're going to break bullish back up here to your resistance levels, $59, $60. And then the next step up is going to be 61 bucks. So if you do get a bull, break on this baby, you're easily going to pop up here. And your top line here would be here. Now, this would, if we did all this happened, this would definitely be this would be a bullish break on Bitcoin. This would be a bullish break. This would invalidate my head and shoulders. This would tell me we're probably heading up 7K plus, 7,200 area if this happens on Litecoin. If this does break down, right, you're going to be looking for this to break the shoulder right here, the wedge line. And then you're going to look for this to play out down here. Now, if you come over and we're looking for that same head and shoulders pattern, we don't find it. Look, there's really no head and shoulders pattern over here on Litecoin. right? Litecoin doesn't have the same head and shoulders pattern that we do over on Bitcoin. And if you do, it's a funky one. Here in 2, 3, 4, 5, it's like this. It's a really funky head and shoulders pattern that's a really kind of hard to make out here, right? I mean, this is almost impossible. You just can't, just doesn't work. This doesn't play out as a head and shoulders. This is super hard. Where Bitcoin shows the head and shoulders, now Bitcoin shows more weakness possible because of the head and shoulders, but Litecoin actually shows, actually I take that back. Litecoin shows more weakness because it is in a continuation pattern. Bitcoin shows more strength because it is in a consolidation pattern, right, with the head and shoulders. But that consolidation pattern of the bottom of that head and shoulders, right shoulder, is possible to have a big, this is on the verge of breaking out and invalidating this. This is a lot more bearish than Bitcoin is right now. So Litecoin I would consider more bearish than Bitcoin, simply because this is a continuation pattern where this head and shoulders pattern, I don't like head and shoulders patterns on downtrends as much as I like to see a head and shoulders pattern on an uptrend. Right? Thoughts, Chum?
Yeah, I mean, there is precedent for a head and shoulders on a downtrend to just be another continuation pattern, but ideally you would want to see head and shoulders completing the end of an uptrend. That's typically when you see it. Yeah, I got some thoughts on Litecoin.
Go for it. You're up.
So, got to go a little Mr. Burns here. Bringing up the
Coinbase.
But I want to just bring up a couple of things here. EMA 12, EMA 26, most of the EMAs I like to use. And this is basically an example of what Vamp was talking about, of the consistent bearishness to Litecoin than to Bitcoin. So we're seeing our blue line is our 12 and our maroonish line is our 26, and basically our 12 more or less has helped consistent rejection. We hold for a candle, we actually get above both of them for a little bit of time here. This was actually Bitcoin's 8,500 move, where Litecoin put in a weaker bullish move here, and now ever since then we've basically been held under our EMA 12, and right now to the candle, we're finally once again back up to our EMA 12 resistance line here. And what does this tell us? Well, we're behind Bitcoin now, because Bitcoin has already been there and actually already closed above it, where Litecoin has not. So if once Litecoin was leading the way down, maybe because Bitcoin may be turning a little bit bullish short term, is what Litecoin is actually turning slower but turning upward. And this basically shows me a few things. We see from a visual standpoint how spaced out a bearish EMAs can be, and the spacing here and the spacing here. And now we're back to something kind of similar, spaced out bearishly to what we normally get a little bit of an uptrend to kind of pull us back a little closer. So once again, I'm shooting for a max target bullish of roughly $63 and change, which would hit the major resistance EMA 26, which we have not been over since basically July. That would be a major bullish move there. If I go down to our 6 hour here, we see actually for the first time in some time, we're over both of them, and we're actually bullishly crossing them, both of them. So that's substantial, where most of August we were basically split up here, playing around here. So this corresponds with something going on here, and Vamp, we're breaking out a little bit on Bitcoin here.
Yeah, I see it.
Let's
I'm watching it.
Let me shoot back to Bitcoin real quickly. Let's go to a closer thing here, because every time we do this, guys, we want to see continuation. Let me pull up let me pull up this one here. Yeah, it's fine. Do this, and let's watch our volume, because we want to see if we can get some sort of continuation bullishly and make this more of a wick, or less of a wick and more of a continuation. We also talk about fanning out our MAs and EMAs. This is a sense of bullishness there, so we're watching to see if we can get follow through, or if this is kind of just gets sold off into. Remember, we're getting close to those resistance areas we talked about earlier in the show, so this could be that next top off area that we want to kind of touch and go sideways for, so we can kind of build some momentum. I like the spreading out here. Remember, we're going very short term here to see if we can find some follow through volume and continuation here, or we kind of just wick out once again. Otherwise, our trend is our friend, and right now our trend continues to be, we're going up here. We're going up a little steeper here. Remember, on our hourly chart now, where we had found support is now much lower here. So breaking bullish is great, but these wicks here, we want to see follow through. We keep seeing these wicks on our 1 hour. Again, in our 4 hour, we wicked out. We were able to break through it here. How many wick outs can we continue to do before we break bullish? And now we're much higher on our major supports, which had held us up in this zone here. So it's great we're breaking bullish, but we're losing some of that extra support we had below.
Shit. Crap.
What do you got?
Well, I was going to freaking add to my short.
Oh.
I missed it.
Yeah, because we're
missed it. I was too busy watching this. I'm like 67.50.
Listen, this is the 5 minute here, and this is the volume. And listen, we just want to watch for continuation. If this wicks out here, if we sell into this, then this is just another example of where we're just taking profit. But let's hold this uptrend. Remember, we have now our support set in line. It's okay to back test these as long as they've bounced and we're able to hold this support. So even if we go down to 67 or even 66.75 or even down to 66, as long as we can find support there, we can continue this. But we don't want to see the wick out. So we want to see more volume here. This volume continues to be suspect. We're just not seeing the follow through. So just
that's
a few.
A
minute or so left in this 5 minute here, and we're just seeing this sold into. We're seeing the momentum, the bullishness. Traders are taking profit in this move. They're not loading. They're not adding to this. So let's see how we end up here. We got a minute left in our 5 minute here. 30 seconds left. Let's see if it can be better candle. Again, we're just in a short time frame here, but we're looking for the volume follow-up, but even without it, we can still maintain this uptrend. Even when we break bearish here, it seems to get bought up. So we'll kind of watch to see if this can get bought up in continuation, at least not get sold into sporadically. It's fine if we wick out, and if we hold these supports, we can kind of build on the next candle here.
Yep, and closed out as a hammer.
Yeah, and that's the thing. So we closed out as, it's a shooting star. It's also, you can't be called the bottom hammer because it's the top here, but we want to see the follow through here of our next 5 minute candle and see if this is bringing in some bull volume into the market, and I just want to quickly look and see how the shorts quickly reacted to this again on a similar time frame. Were they loading, or they were actually liquidating? Interesting. So they were not loading into this quick little pop of Bitcoin. They actually sold off into this. So they're getting a little wary here. They're actually thinking Bitcoin might be a little bit more bullish than the shorts have kind of leveraged themselves to be. And that's interesting because we're looking for this trend change. We've been in this sideways price action for so long. We want to see some kind of a trend change here. So we're watching our shorts liquidate while we're looking for some continuation here. Again, we want more volume than this. We're just getting into this candle here. But if we can hold, we have supports below us, which is great. They're no longer above, they're below.
Yep. Yeah, I know. In that 2 day, I'll tell you, that's a very bullish cross on your daily candle. That's an extremely bullish. The 10 and the 20. That is an extremely bullish candle. Listen, this has kind of been my top shot area. This is it for me. I do have new higher levels that are set right now. But I have my stop losses right now. My stop losses are actually pretty high. I'm up over here. I'm up over probably 68.50, 6900-ish. I got to look at my stop loss, see where it's at. But I am up here 6800. And then I will be just flipped out of this trade. At that point, I'll be going long to 7200 possibly if that does break up. Let's take a look at your Bollinger Bands. What do you got there? What are your BBs
just saying? Quickly on the 4 out, the shorts are still flagging, so I haven't seen, even though it was a quick pop in the price, the shorts are still kind of doing their thing. On the BBs, we're looking at the 4-hour continuing to find resistance right when we pierce the upper BB. We're getting rejected. Remember, this time here, we just blasted right through, blasted right through with pretty insane volume. And this was, that suspect bullish move there when BitMEX happened to be offline for an hour. This here is more consistent with showing actual real resistance on our 4-hour Bollinger Bands, and that continues to hold. Now, two things are going to happen here. The market will basically understand that it's not breaking through here, and sure enough, not closing above on the 4-hour, but we can go to our 1-hour and see something else, because what we've also noticed in our 1-hour is we can break above for a candle and close above for a candle before we come back in, break above, close above before we're just held there, then we come back in. And right now we are holding above. We have 15 minutes left to go in our hourly, but we're getting a little bullish here, a little ahead of our skis, if you will. This was tightening on our hourly. This was tightening on our hourly. This pushed this move here, and now this is pushing this move here. But the wider we get, the less upward momentum we can really achieve before we get really overbought. So I don't expect these candles to break too far bullish above our Bollingers. And now that we're fanning out on our MAs and EMAs, these will be our support targets if we want to kind of correct a little bit, which is fine as long as we keep this momentum moving forward. If we find resistance or are unable to hold our middle BB, from our 1-hour up to our 4-hour, then I would start to think that we actually have lost our bullish moves here and we're trending down. But right now, because of this move, those indicators are rising. So really, I'm looking at strong support roughly around 6,500 and up.
Yep. All right. Excellent stuff. And I think we're going to call it an early day today.
Sure.
And that's, Tiffany had a question on how do you find your channels? Can you show her how to do the channels?
Sure. It's kind of, let me go back to my
the channel tool. The channel tool.
Oh, sure. So, guys, I recommend you paying a little extra money every month to get the TradingView Pro. You get a lot more indicators to play with. I love using my parallel channel tool. It's under this tab. Go all the way to the bottom here. And we see a lot in many price actions here, these parallel channels where we actually create a defined support and a defined resistance zone. And then in that, we have a middle of the two, which acts as interesting support and resistance along the way. So I'm a big fan of using the parallel channels to basically chart my patterns and chart some of my trades. And if I know I'm confident that the lower channel will hold, I basically would scoop up and then set my sells if we are able to test our middle and then potentially break of our upper channel there. So that's how I use the channel parallel to kind of set my trades there, and that's how you find it.
So we had one thing on there. So somebody was asking, Bernard says, hey, why are people buying in right now? I personally think that people are buying right now to get a little bit of that. The alts are popping. So your alts are popping up a little bit. I think one of the reasons we're seeing BTC get a little extra push right now is people are going in, scooping up some super value alts. And alts are at like an ultimate all-time low right now. So I do see people going in and scooping up some alts. I see the alts making some pretty good moves right now as we're popping. And that's one thing, you need this sideways action, which is what we're doing. We are not going up. And just to confirm with everybody, okay, we are not going up. Up is breaking over 6,900, okay?
Yeah.
We're going sideways. This is just pure sideways motion. So before you get all super fuzzy and warm and think this thing is going to the moon, we are only moving sideways here. We're in a channel. This channel is only moving sideways. We don't have anything parabolic yet. What we need to see is, now I will tell you, this kind of movement is much better than this single big wick. When you get these big runs up here, this is bad. This is bad. The slow grinding is good, right? You want to see the slow grinding, right? You grind for a little while, like this grinding lower. Look at this grinding lower. It kind of grinds out, dumps, grinds, dumps, grinds, dumps. This is kind of what you want to see, but in reverse. Now, the issue you have here, and one of the charts I'm going to bring up real quick, which I was trying not to bring up any more charts, but where did it go? Here it is. I think this is it right here. This is the chart I want to bring up. So one of the things I want to show you guys is give you a good correlation on kind of like a little, like take a look at this chart right here, okay? This is the big picture chart, okay? This is the big pictures. You need to step back every once in a while. You need to look at the big picture before you think we're buying Lambos and everything's going crazy, okay? So I want you to look at this move we made here. Look at this big move we made. Now, I do have an alarm set right there. And look at this big move that happened here. And the last time we made this big move, it just made a big move up to make a big dump. This move, when it made this big move up, it was just made, this one came up and made a nice dump. So you guys have got to watch out. You got to be careful here. The difference here is, look at this. Look at the movement here. This is bullish. This pattern from here to here is bullish. This from here to here is bullish. This from here to here. This from even here to here. What the hell is this? Right? This is not bullish, guys. This does not say moon and Lambos to me. Now, this does say you've traveled a long way and there's no price action. Our price hasn't moved at all, and we made this massive, massive movement. Look, even our RSI. Look at how far our RSI. Our RSI has come up. This is a lot, guys. This is a lot of movement on the RSI here with no price action, right? We're actually lower. Our price action right now, look, our RSI is higher, but our price action is lower. If you zoom in right here, if you get a good zoom in right here, look at, you see where this peak was right here? This is the 6,900 peak. Listen, we're still 170 points off, 175 points off of the 6,900 wick, and our price action is lower. This is not a good sign. This does not say healthy recovery to me. Okay, this does not say we're going to the moon. What this says is I have limited upside here. I need to be really, really careful, okay? Because even if this thing takes off and it does a parabolic wink, wink, you know, oh my God, we're going to the moon run, it's very limited on how high it can go, okay? You're very limited up here on how far you can run on this before you're just going to run out of gas. And that goes the same thing with your RSI. Because you've already ran half the distance of your RSI, you're at 50, and we all know where our RSI tops out at. You know, you see up here on the 12-hour, our RSI tops out at 90, and once you get up this high, it just crashes. You know, you crash. And you guys got to be careful. You got to step back on your chart at least once every couple days and just take a look at the big picture to just make sure you understand before you get a lot of hopeism in you and think this thing is going to go parabolic. If anything, you know, I think, hey, you've got a good channel that's built right here. You've got these wicks that all top off all the way down. You do have, you know, 7,200-ish is still on the table. It's possible, you know. Bing, 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 bing. And then, you know, you're inside this channel, but you got to break outside of the channel. To be bullish, listen, it's this simple. Just draw a line on your chart, go get a tattoo or something. You guys can, you know, just 8,500. You have to break 8,500 to be out of the bear market. Okay? Sean?
Yeah, and even on the price here, I mean, short term, 6850 area, right up to around under 7K. It's just massive resistance. And if we get into that area, I expect us to wick out, and that could actually set up a very bearish daily candle, which we just started here. So I wouldn't be surprised if we have a couple $100 more of bullish momentum. It's there. It's set up for it if we can get some volume follow through. But 6850 to 6900 is just a confluence of many resistances, and maybe Tether can bring us up. Maybe this bullishness can continue. I'm a little disagreeable in terms of the pops and the alts yesterday. I agree. A lot of them did stabilize, and a lot of them actually have decent wicks that were bought up. But I definitely see more of a intent in to move the price of Bitcoin. And then we talk about when sideways price action with a hint towards bullishness in Bitcoin happens, we definitely see the alts have, pop bullishly at that situation. Very lastly, I'll bring up here our historical data for Bitcoin and kind of our money flow. We've seen a couple of circumstances when we get really low in dollar volume that has signaled a decreased selling and actually a bullish indicator. And right now we're getting in the low 3 billions, which corresponds to some of our lowest numbers for August for the month. Now, I'll give the benefit of the doubt that this is the last week of August around the world. A lot of people are on vacay. A lot of people are on holiday. I expect this to be on the lower side, but it could be an indicator that maybe some of the selling short term is dried up, and we can maybe be able to kind of build on that. Barely hovering around 100 billion, 109 billion for Bitcoin. Crypto in total, 216. Bitcoin dominance, 53.4. So we're still kind of hovering in these areas here, and maybe it can sustain itself in this range until everybody gets back from vacation. First week of September, I think September is going to be a very dynamic month. A lot more action than we've seen through August.
Yeah. Let's talk about a couple little things on Twitter real quick here. We did have this 10,600 Bitcoins that was moved over to Phoenix. So you got to watch out for this. I mean, this could be what's in play right now with this little wink, wink pop we have. Come find KK. KK does an awesome job. Where's that wick? Who's got that wick? Where's that crazy wick at? Did anybody see that wick? One of the members brought up that wick today on
the BitMix. On Mex, yeah.
Wink, wink. Okay, I take it back. We have. Is that it? Is that the wick? Hold on.
Hold on.
I think they deleted.
No, you know what? I heard they may have erased it.
They deleted the wick.
Oh wait, was it BitMEX or was it?
It was
one
Mex.
of the other ones?
It was
Mex.
It was Mex. It was an $8,000 wick.
Yeah, I saw that, and then I think I even saw a tweet where they said they deleted it or something, or somebody noticed that it was gone. So,
they delete. How do you delete it off the first of all, that's some shady stuff. How do you delete a wick off how do you delete a wick off your exchange?
It's actually not. It's not unprecedented. I've seen it happen on other charting programs where. There was some kind of a fat finger that just completely annihilates the chart, and they remove it, and it kind of keeps the chart flowing. So it's not unprecedented, but yeah, it's definitely sketch.
It's just, it's just like, how do you do that? How do you just take something off there? It's so weird. Anyways, exactly. Crypto Ani said, this is why we're not ready for the ETFs. Cause you can just, only kidding, pulling that back. Right. Something had to trigger that. I mean, a fat finger or not, somebody had to make an order that thing just popped like that. I think that's it, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. I think we're good today. I think, listen, the sentiment today is, I think we have, personally, I think we have limited range to run here, okay? I'm not getting overly excited. I think that, I think my charts are still, oh, man. It's a tough one. I don't like this area. I don't like this trading area at all. I'm just going to have to say that I am in a no trade zone, and I'm just playing. So I am playing the head and shoulders. Okay, so I'm going to put that up on my chart here so everybody can see. So my trade call for right now is no new trades. I am playing the H and S, ride or die. Okay, yeah, let's get rid of this. So that's really what I got today. You know what I'm saying? Now, I am going to say that I'm going to add one thing. I am confused we have a bear and bull cross on the daily at the same damn time, and that's the 30, 50, and the 10 and 20. So to these, this would make me short term bullish. This make me short term bullish, at least to, at least with that. Let's say neutral. Right, this would make me short term neutral because I'm torn on the daily charts. The daily chart says, oh, hey, we got one more pop up, and that one more pop up would totally correlate with my other chart that says, that would with this one over here. Where are you at? This one right here. So look at it. See, it's doing the same thing. You see this? So here it is. It's doing the same damn thing as it did over here. Right? There it is. It's just riding this channel up. Now it never broke over there. So it never broke over this channel, but you've got this that you're gonna break. You're talking, now it can keep riding sideways. This thing could keep riding sideways on this channel. We'd have to stretch that out up here. But, you could keep riding this baby up. And once you invalidate that head and shoulders, I mean, this wick right here, I think you invalidate the head and shoulders. I think you're done. You're called it, and then you're bullish, right? You're running into the tech and cloud, and you're bullish.
Yeah, and there's still that area around 7,200 in the futures that has to get closed. So that's definitely target.
And and listen, I'm not, bearish twist. This is still should play out like this. Look, this didn't, this did fall earlier with this bearish twist. This just has not fallen. This is not. It's like, nope, only kidding. So this is, if you want to go on your chart, I would draw these wedges. I would draw this wedge line out, right? And you can find this bottom wedge right here, where you follow these 1, 2, 3 wicks up with this bottom wick, and this is where it fell out of your wedge, popped back up, fell out of your wedge again, and now you're playing the bottom side of this wedge right here, and this wedge line with the top lines right here are my resistance lines, and you can pull these all the way over and just go just like that right there. See that? Okay, so this is kind of how you run that over, just like that right there. So if I was setting up my charts, this is kind of how I would do it. Then you're going to go up here. You're just going to label this wedge equals resistance, and plus the left. It's a left shoulder, right?
Yeah.
Plus the left shoulder. Plus the left shoulder wicks. Okay, so you just go up here, you pop that up there, and then this is what you're looking to break to go bullish, to flip your trade bullish. Okay, that's it. Anybody got any questions? Any last questions for us? Oh, oops, it's not on my chart. It's on my chart. Yep.
You're good.
Yep.
I think we're good.
Hey, crypto. Hey, Rusty. Okay, listen. One last thing. One last thing. Give me 1 second here. You are not escaping without the shill. Let the shilling begin. Come on over and join us at Until 1 Million. We have exotic dancers. We have free food. We have a buffet twice a day. Come on over. You guys join. You guys don't have to worry about. We have all the cable TV channels. You're allowed to watch Game of Thrones 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We even got a sneak peek of all of the brand new episodes that are coming up. And you get all of that with the Big Chone package or the Vamp package. All right, so you guys should definitely come on over and join us. You can find us at Until 1 Mil. We are amazing. For the Chone, who is probably pantless right now with supermodels trying to rush him out with whipped cream and handcuffs. And the Vamp, thank you all so much for joining us. Chone?
Good night, everybody. Have a great weekend. Be safe. Don't drink too much.
All right, later, man. Bye. We're out.